Hi everybody, it's Preschool Storytime time. And today we are going to read a story by David Soman, and it's called 3 Bears in a Boat. And this book is published by Penguin Random House, so we want to thank Penguin and Random House for letting us share this story with you today. And also, before we start, I want to remind you guys that it's Summer Learning Challenge time as well. So drop by the library, we're open now, and pick up your reading log. And you can sign up online as well on summerlearners.org. So visit our website for more details. Come in and see us, say hey, and pick up a log and get your free book as well to start out your summer learning. 3 Bears in a Boat, written by David Soman and illustrated by him too. Once there were 3 bears, Dash, Charlie, and Theo, who lived by the sea. One day, when their mother was out, the 3 bears did something they really shouldn't have. And with a crash, their mother's beautiful blue seashell lay scattered in pieces across the floor. Afraid of their mama, who after all was a bear, the 3 fled from their house down to the beach and huddled behind their boat. Theo whispered nervously, "What should we do?" Charlie just crossed her arms and stared out at the sea. It was Dash, as usual, who had an idea. What if we find another blue seashell and put it back before Mama gets home? She'll never even know that anything happened. Charlie and Theo smiled, and so, just like that, the sly bears slid their boat into the sea and set sail. Their sail flew open like a wing, and the boat flashed across the water. Dotting the sea around their home were many other bears in boats. Surely one of them would know where they could find a blue seashell. But the bears on the first boat did not have any idea where to look. The bears in the second boat were a little confused. And the bears in the third boat seemed a bit busy. Then they met a big salty bear and asked him if he knew where any blue seashells might be. The salty bear looked them up and down with his keen old sailor eyes. "I reckon I might," he said. "A ways over yonder," he told them, "is an island shaped like a lumpy hat. On that island there may be a seashell, a beautiful blue one. It could be underwater, or in the tallest tree, or on the very top of the mountain. It might even be hidden in a cave. I'm not dead certain, but if you look in the right place, I reckon you'll find it." As he began to motor away, the 3 little bears yelled their thanks to him. "Just look in the right place," he said with a wave of his big old paw. Excited and sure that they would soon have a new shell for their mother, the 3 bears sailed on. They sailed past islands that looked like a lot of fun, and past some that maybe didn't. The voyage was not without incident. Look at that. Wow. They sailed on farther than they had ever gone before. They sailed until the island rose in a hump before them and began to search for the seashell. They didn't find it underwater. It wasn't in the trees, not on top of the mountain. Then they found a small cave. "I'm not going in there," squeaked Theo. "It's dark." "But this has to be the right place," said Dash, peering in. "We've looked everywhere else." Then Charlie walked inside. "Bears afraid of a cave?" she snorted. And the other two followed. Inside, the cave was small and dark, and there was definitely no blue seashell. The three were most unhappy and stared at each other with very squinty, very mad bear eyes. And all the way back to their boat, they had no blue seashell, and they felt very far from home. Back on the boat, the three bears began to argue. Dash said to Theo, "We're all stuck out here because you broke the seashell." And Theo yelled, "It's Charlie's fault because she was too wobbly." And Charlie growled, "No, I wasn't. And it was Dash's idea to sneak the honey in the first place." And round they went, getting madder and madder, and louder, yelling and pointing their paws at each other. They didn't even notice how the sky had been turning darker and darker, and how the sea had turned rougher and rougher until, boom! Dash, Charlie, and Theo were scared. They didn't care whose fault it was anymore. They were all in the same boat. Wet and blinking, the three bears looked at each other. And Dash said, "It was really my bad idea." And Theo said, "It was an accident, but I did knock the shell over." And Charlie said, "Well, I guess I was sort of wobbly." They reached out their paws and clung to each other very tightly. And then, like turning a page, the little boat sailed out of the storm and into the sun. The three bears floated on water as smooth and calm as glass. The storm already seemed far, far behind them, and there, straight ahead, was their very own island. The bears set sail for home. They knew what they had to do. They pulled their boat up on their own shore, and at the edge of the beach sat a beautiful blue seashell. Picking up the shell, Dash remembered the words of the old salty bear. "So this was the right place?" he asked, looking at his brother and sister. Then the three bears walked up the long dune to their house. Mama was waiting for them. "I'm sorry I broke your shell," said Theo. "Me too," said Dash. "Me three," said Charlie. "But look what we found for you." Dash held up the beautiful new shell. And Mama Bear, being a mother, looked at each one of her three little bears, hugged them all very, very tight, kissed the tops of their furry heads, and forgave them. Then she brought them inside for a warm supper. But they didn't get any dessert. That's the end of our story. Three Bears in a Boat, written and illustrated by David Soman. Let's go on a trip. Do you know what's out there in the ocean?
Away from the beach? Let's take a trip. We can go exploring. How many fish can you see? There are almost too many to count. The turtle swims in the clear blue water. It can swim very far. Here's a stingray resting on the sea floor. The jellyfish float around in the dark. Don't they look like little umbrellas and parachutes? This lobster has bright colors. Can you name them? These sharks are looking for food. There's a whale jumping out of the water. It's huge. Here's a dolphin jumping up high. It's ready to play. There was so much to see in the ocean. There are a lot of different animals that live underwater. Should we visit this island now? A crab is crawling across the sand. Can you tell where it's going to? The sun is shining on these sand dollars. Here is a big cave. It must be dark inside. We can follow the sunlight to find our way out. Look at the beautiful sunset. The birds are flying home to rest for the night. Let's go back to the end. Summer Learning Challenge is here. It starts June 1st. Sign up online at summerlearners.org and pick up a reading log at the library. And there's more. Each child gets a free book for signing up. Stop by the library to pick out your free book. Have a super fun summer. For more programs and events, check our website at smplibrary.org or our social media. We have a Facebook page and we're on Instagram as well.